He said, Mark, I am just pursuing things that bring me joy. And I said, I'm pursuing things that bring me money.
Right? Money brings me joy.
You had 2 guys, a pregnant woman, and a guy who didn't show up.
Right. Yeah.
And you got it done. And let's just say I had more people than that.
And welcome back to the Riley Black Project with Crystal and John.
Sup?
What's going on?
Same old, I think.
So, it's for the listeners, it's the 8th
of November.
Or a little later, depending on when they're listening.
Yeah.
But we're recording this on the 1st. So,
yes.
Happy No Shave November.
You better be shaving.
Oh, okay.
You just shaved to the beard length I like. Mm. You're not doing No Shave November.
No?
See, Jackson agrees.
I think Jackson wants me to do
No.
November.
He's on my side. He wants you to shave. Please.
All right. Happy November, guys.
Yes.
Hope Halloween was good.
Yes.
Although I should have said that last episode, but whatever.
We kind of did.
We're a week ahead.
Yeah, hopefully you had
last week I wished everyone a happy Halloween.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Now I'm hoping you got candy and
hopefully it was safe and fun, and it was the first year that JR went trick-or-treating.
Yep. He went with his cousins.
And he had so much fun, and he got tired. He made it about halfway through the circle that we were doing.
Circle, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Poor guy. Every time you'd ask him, "Are you okay? You tired? Are you good?" He's like, "Yeah." But
you need help with that bucket, buddy? Nope.
Nope.
And I mean, it was weighing.
It was bending.
I mean, he had, it was a good candy score.
Yes, it was.
It was a good candy score. I think the only things that I picked out that weren't good are those pixie sticks.
Yeah.
And
there was a funky Reese's that I threw away.
Right, but that was because it was melted.
Yeah.
But not bad candy.
Yeah.
I'm talking about
because Pixie Sticks is literally just straight sugar, like flavored sugar.
Somebody listening is like, I love Pixie Sticks. Why would you do that? Yeah, sorry.
Toss that shit out.
Yeah. No, that's like a beginning of Coke.
Yeah,
that's kid cocaine. Is what it is. He had a good score of candy. Had lots of fun. I loved, there was one that was like a super creepy, it was like a tent.
Yeah, that
and it
one
had
was
a fog
cool.
machine with a strobe light and
JR
music.
was like,
JR looked at it and was like,
nope.
Nah, people are just handing out candy.
He's I don't need
no
candy.
need to risk my life for a full size Snicker. Sorry. I'm keep it moving.
Funny.
Yeah. But no, he had fun. He had fun with his cousins.
Cool.
And it was good. I hope you guys had a happy Halloween.
Yeah. And then, so before we get to our November shout outs, we have some exciting news. Do you know what our exciting news is?
No. I didn't know
Who's coming over tomorrow?
That's right. We do have, personal
exciting news.
Not linked to Riley, but loosely linked.
Yeah,
I mean, it's paying for it.
It's not loosely linked. It's going to be the reason I'm going to be able to actually get something fucking done for once.
Yeah.
I mean, I get a lot done, but it's hard. It's not without a lot of effort and work and stopping and starting and stopping and starting and stopping and starting.
So you guys know we outsource everything in life.
Yes.
So we're outsourcing childcare.
Yes. So
not outsourcing. We're insourcing, I guess.
Yeah, because she's coming here. Yeah. So she's a grandma. She has 4 kids of her own and 3 grandchildren. They're all in another state, but her name is Sue. So we are meeting Sue tomorrow. So fingers crossed that it goes great. Through text message, she was very easy to talk to. On the phone, she was very easy to talk to.
You guys hit it off right away.
She's very open to the new way of doing things because things change, and
she's
then grandmas and moms are always like, "Well, when I didn't even know that," and it's like I get it, but at the same time, some of them didn't even have car seats. Or the car seats were a lot sketchier.
Yeah, she was open to the change.
She was very open to, and we don't do a lot of weird stuff.
No. It's basically just pace feeding and no blankets.
The pace feeding, because if yeah, if you don't pace feed, he overfeeds and then he throws it all up.
I think he's overfeeding.
Yeah.
He's fat. He's chunky. No, he's got rolls on rolls on rolls.
No, he's cute.
He's got rolls on rolls on rolls.
He is perfect as is. Yeah, so that's tomorrow. So I'm so hopeful because you took him for 2 to 3 hours the other week, and well today too. Right. But and it just I was able to accomplish so much. So I can only imagine what I can accomplish having someone watch him for 8 hours.
Also, so speaking of me taking him today, and we're about to do shout outs to Eon.
Yes.
Because the two texts came today.
So amazing. Yes. Good job. Yeah, I definitely wanted to cover that. They were supposed to come out last week, but there was a little kind of miscommunication. And so they came out this week, and 2 texts came out, and I am terrible. And if they told me their names, I don't remember them, but they are awesome. And they spent, I don't know.
I mean, so
4 or 5 hours?
It had to be because they were here before I left to gymnastics.
Yeah.
And they left, I think,
right before.
Right when it was over at 4:25.
Yeah. And they fixed me right up. Changed a bunch of little things, but things that I could have done myself. But after I realized there was several, and they're not local, but they're only a couple hours away. And I was like, hey, is it possible, excuse me, if someone can just come out and do this for me? Cause there's just several things. They had to change out a LED light bar. They had to fix a belt. I think they changed several belts. Anyway, it's stuff up amazing. Yeah, there was some bolts that I had that I guess controlled or were part of the Z-axis going up and down, and they should have been greased, but they were bone dry. And grease doesn't really go away. So I think, and because my machine's always made that noise, so as terrible as it was, I thought it was normal. And so I think
it didn't get worse.
It was, no. And so I think it was just kind of one of those steps that might have been missed or something. Mm-hmm. Who knows? But either way, my machine is now quiet and running amazing, and just another reason why I love them so much. Yeah. So our guest is ready. But
all right, I was gonna say can't get to the guest yet. We gotta do our shout.
We're just wrapping up. Okay, calm down. My phone is locked and I need to find the list, even though I pretty much know everybody. Okay. Who do we got? Will Louie, the original. And then who was the next one? You wanted to give him a personal shout out.
Well, yeah, I want to give a shout out and an update. So shout outs to my man Ryan, who's part of the hat club. And I want to give you guys an update on this hat rack. We finally have an update. The update is nothing has changed. There's no design. There's no purchase of materials. We haven't discussed colors. We haven't measured
let's be
for
real.
space.
I don't have to purchase the materials because I got a shit ton of acrylic.
We haven't measured for space.
I did measure.
She measured
the hats
about a month ago.
You shit.
But nothing has changed. So the update is there's still no hat rack.
And you got another hat.
We are inching closer.
Whatever.
To Christmas?
Okay, I haven't only had 7 million things. Your 2 kids are alive. How about that? Okay.
November. It's due next month.
Anyway, so then the next patron is Kathy Ray. And then we got Crystal Squared, a.k.a. Crystal Tidwell.
Yes.
Then we got Mark Collier, who's our guest today. And...
You sound like Oprah.
Shut up.
Mark Collier.
And I'm terrible at names, so Tara, please tell me if I butcher this, but Tara Beek Robinson, our newest patron. Mm-hmm. So thank you guys so much for giving us your hard-earned money.
and support
and helping to support us.
Yes.
Oh, crap. We didn't talk about the t-shirt.
Well, let's talk about the
let's
t-shirt.
talk about the
Since
t-shirt.
we're talking about support. We have t-shirt. We have a t-shirt.
We have a
We don't have
extra
t-shirts.
large,
We have a
which I do
t-shirt.
want to work on that. But
Yes, but this is the first.
Yes.
This is one.
So we have one extra large Riley Black Project t-shirt. And next week we are, well, when you're listening to this, we are going to run a contest on Instagram, Facebook,
Yes.
and Patreon. So basically on Instagram,
If you're already a Patreon subscriber,
you
you're
are automatically
enrolled.
entered into this contest,
Right.
future contests.
Right.
If there's a Riley Black Project contest and you're a patron member, you are in because you've already done your work in
You're
supporting us.
Yeah, you're supporting us every month, so you're automatically in.
Automatically
But
in there.
if you want to,
if you want extra entries.
I was just say if you want to further support and share and
Yes, totally.
all the steps that everybody else has to do, feel free.
Yeah, well, and that'll get them an extra entry.
Okay,
so you
there
get
you go.
one just for being
A Patreon
patron. But if you want a couple more, then
Follow all the
So
steps. Which are,
you'll just watch out for a post.
Okay.
But yeah, it's gonna be. I'll give all the details in the group.
and it's not anything. You
Nothing
tag
crazy.
a friend.
Tag a friend.
they
If they actually
follow.
follow, then that counts.
Yeah,
I think
so-
is what I'm gonna do.
So yeah,
Share the group.
yeah. So look
become
out
a
for that
patron.
contest.
Yeah.
Win a free T-shirt,
Yep.
and let us know what you think of the design of the T-shirt. I guess. Right?
It's our logo, so don't tell me if you don't tell me if you hate it because I'm not changing it.
Okay,
Sorry.
then enjoy the T-shirt then.
Just,
Wear
just
it in good
enjoy the
health.
t-shirt.
Wear it in good health.
All right, off to caller guest BRB.
That means be right back.
Shut up. Where's the dongle? I found the
I
dongle.
gave you everything.
Is this the dongle? No, that's my headphone. Here it is. Got it.
While we get our guests situated, just wanted to remind you to follow us on Instagram at the Riley Black Project. And if you're not already, subscribe to the podcast by hitting those 3 little dots at the top right of your screen. Or if you're on Apple Podcasts, hit the plus sign. While there, rate and review. Let us know how we're doing. Don't forget the Riley Black Project group on Facebook, where you can give potential show ideas, critiques, and meet new people from our community. Last but not least, if you'd like to support us monetarily, head over to Patreon and become a subscriber. As a patron, you will get access to episodes on Fridays rather than Mondays, shoutouts, and free monthly design files depending on your tier, plus automatic entries into giveaways and exclusive promo codes to guest products just for supporting us. Now, back to the show. And we're back.
With who? I didn't know you were going to stop there.
No, that's it. All I'm going to say is, and we're back. And you
All
introduce
right,
the guest.
and we're back. Hey, Mark.
Hello.
Oh, I could have done that. I thought you were say his last name and stuff. Oh, what's going on, Mark? I knew
So
Mark.
is it Collier? Am I
It
saying that
is.
right? Okay. Mark
Oh,
You're saying it
Collier.
right.
Like Collier County down
Yes.
here.
Oh, I don't know about
that's
Collier.
right. Call your
County.
dog. Yeah, that's right. Yep.
With big blue lasers, right?
Yeah, big blue
Laser designs.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. You got it.
So
I'm
before
glad
we
to be
get
here.
into your, sorry to cut you off. Before we
glad
get
I am.
into the nitty gritty, I wanted to give my story on my experience.
Oh, we're
with
just
Mark.
jumping into the story?
Just straight in.
Just
Man,
head
wow.
first.
I'm excited. Let's
All right.
do it.
Well, I think I'm a little excited about it,
A
just
little?
because. Shut up.
I was going to ask him like where he's from and all this and that. You're like, first, let me tell you my story.
No, it's about me.
Okay.
Okay. Well, so when I got a laser, so when I got a Glowforge first, and I was part of the Glowforge user group, and
Yeah. And how long ago was that?
oh man. So
long
I got
ago?
my shut up. You made fun of me last week for this. So I got my laser in October of 3 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know what year that was. Do
So
the math.
18.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, in October of 2018. So I'd stocked the groups for a couple months, and then I got my Glowforge, and I knew nobody who had one. So the group was all I had when I had questions or issues, problems, ideas, whatever.
Yeah.
And you were very active and very helpful. And I remember purchasing your designs so that I could understand how they worked. Because when you see a design, you're like, oh, that's a really cool design. But when you're new, you can't really wrap your head around how. Like, how does that design, how do you cut that and make it go together like that? You know, not like an ornament, obviously, that's like 2 layers. I mean, that's simple. You just layer it on top of each other. But the one example I think I used last week was like, I had purchased your phone stand.
Yeah.
Because in my head, I couldn't, and seeing it, I didn't understand how it went together.
Is that the one with all the chargers and stuff?
Yeah, so I had purchased his design, but then I tweaked it to add the what do you call it? The charger for my watch. Yeah, and then to fit like glasses and whatever. So when I was starting, I came from the t-shirt world. So I made like my own, t-shirt designs. I didn't sell them or anything like that. But so I had experience making my own designs. But when it came to laser designs, it took me a while to, the simple like flat stuff I could figure out. But as soon as there was any kind of like dimension or slot or anything like that, it was beyond my comprehension at the time. So yeah, I ended up buying his phone stand and many other designs, but the phone stand is the one that I remember the most because I couldn't figure out how it worked, and then I was able to take that and tweak it into the stand that I had made for my mom of holding the phone and the watch and glasses and yeah, he was just, and I remember poor Mark, I was in his DMs about kerf, I call it the 4-letter word kerf. And I'm a lot better now, but I'm definitely, so I've come to terms with the fact that I can handle kerf for my own stuff. I cannot teach it. It is not one of the things that I will be like, let me give you a tutorial on kerf. Riley Black Designs will not be ever performing a tutorial on kerf.
Kerf is just so I kind of rudimentary. Yes. It's the measurement of the burnt off material.
Basically.
Yes. Yeah. Basically, the easy way to explain it is any tool that you use to cut, like most people have cut a piece of wood with a saw before, and when you draw a line on a piece of wood and you cut it with like your circular saw, if you make the mistake at all, right, yeah, and you go right down the middle of the line, you realize, oh crap, this is short, right, because I went down the middle of the line. Yeah. And so once I say that, usually people say, oh wait, I've done that before.
That's really the only reason why I kind of know what it is.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And usually the next thing they say is, oh, can I move the laser to the outside of the line? Which makes sense. That's a good question.
And the answer is no.
No. But they're understanding it. But you can tell that they're right. You can tell that they're understanding the concept.
Right. Because that's what you do with the saw.
Right.
Right.
You just do it
and so that's kind of what you're doing in your software by adding that buffer or subtracting that buffer. You're kind of that's basically what you're doing. Right. But yeah, so much so that my designs that require kerf on my Etsy, I had messaged Mark and I said, hey, can I link your YouTube to my description?
Sure.
Because I was so proud of the designs, but I had to let my buyers know, like, if you don't have a good understanding of kerf, I'm unfortunately not that person for you. Like, I want you to have this design, and if you have an understanding of kerf, you'll love it as well. But if you want me to teach you, I can't.
Well, and that's a really interesting thing too. If you don't mind me just mentioning this, it's an interesting place that designers find themselves is when you this, you've almost just said it, but when you make something, let's say it's a phone stand, and you've made the design and it's made perfectly. Everything works. It's just what it should be. Mm-hmm. And then the customer comes along and they want to use a material that's different from what you made it for.
Yes.
And then that's okay. Of course, that's totally fine. And I'm probably going to say this wrong, but I hope you'll get the gist of it, is they then kind of expect you to teach them how to use something else. And as you know from me, I enjoy that.
I do not.
but I will say, let's be honest, I'll be transparent. Yeah. I don't enjoy it every minute of the day.
Right.
You know, there's times when I don't feel like it.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting thing where they say, well, I'm going to use something different than what you made it for. I kind of expect you to teach me how to do that, which is an interesting dynamic.
Yeah. It's frustrating. It gives me, so I have anxiety, and I get anxiety about it, just everything. And so for me, it's hard because, again, with Etsy, you know, you can put it in 16 places and they still won't see it. And so, although I say, like, you need to be comfortable with kerf before you purchase this, I still have the people who are not comfortable with kerf and who, didn't read that I used 1/4-inch material. Yeah. And that even if you purchase, I think I even put it in the file and in the description. I used frosted sea glass color acrylic from Cerulean Tides. Hold on. And 1/4-inch. And even if you buy that color from Amanda, like I did, yours could be different than mine.
Yes.
But also, I mean, you're talking about the same people that a week from purchase will say, hey, I haven't gotten confirmation that it's shipped yet. I
just can't. I can't.
So, I mean, you're asking them to read this about kerf when they're expecting a physical product sometimes.
But I just...
That has not happened to me.
Oh, my God, week. It hasn't? Oh, this week. Oh, okay. Okay, I was going to say, you were about to be a unicorn.
Mad.
You were about to be a unicorn.
It happens to me all the time. I mean, and you know what? I got to be honest. I don't mind when people just kind of own their crap and they say, I'm so sorry, I didn't read that.
Yes, I actually had one of those last week, and it was amazing, and I sent her back her money. I was immediately, here you go.
Oh, but when they get super defensive, you know.
Oh, no. Then I'm keeping the money because now you're worth now I have to be paid for the time of you frustrating me.
Right. So, you know, it's, okay, we'll talk about this for a minute. You know, I've learned from other people too, is I'll put, something on every one of the pictures that say no physical items included.
Doesn't matter.
I'll put it on and I know. Put it on every photo. Mm-hmm. I put it in, 2 or 3 times in the description. I even put it actually in the title of the item. It's actually in the title.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter.
No. They have to type yes, Mark.
And they put their initials. They put their initials.
I thought about that.
Well, so first they were putting their names. Then their full names. And I'm like, I had to, cause I was so sad too, because I was getting all these amazing, like, funny messages from the people who clearly understood that it was a digital. And so I loved those. I loved seeing those. And then I started actually getting people putting like their last name, and I'm like, and so then I had to shorten it to 3 letters to say yes. Then they started putting their initials.
Oh, I see what's going on here. I can't put my full name, but I could put my initials then.
Yes. I'm like, And then there was one lady who purchased twice within 2 weeks apart.
Well, it was such a good deal.
And had bought 3 different ones and said yes to every single one 2 weeks apart and still asked me where her items were.
Yes.
That was the real life money one. Accused me of stealing her real life money.
Oh, her real life money.
I kept her real life money because I needed payment for the stress she put me through.
Man, yes, but I want to, because I know you plenty well enough to know that you feel the same way I do. When it's honest mistakes, we've got grace for that for days.
Yes.
I mean, absolutely.
I mean, it happens.
People that,
I get it. Like, we're all, who's not running on, like, no sleep, or you looked at it real quick, you thought it was really cool. And I mean,
and the price, like, you're like, oh man, this is a great deal.
Yeah, like, oh yeah, I'm going to get this before, what, like,
now, have you had anybody buy like 3 because it's such a good price?
I actually don't. So I haven't, not 3 of the same thing. I've had them purchase several files thinking that,
they were getting several things.
That they were getting, it happened a lot on
Christmas
my watch
shopping,
band designs.
done.
They would purchase like 3 watch bands and think that they were getting
3 watch bands.
I had somebody buy 3 of my chess sets, which is I'm pretty proud of.
Oh my God.
And you're like 3 for, I can't remember how much it costs, whatever.
And then, $6 to $10.
I think so. I think it was like 8. I don't remember.
God.
But so it was like what, $24?
Right,
and
for
then,
a chess set.
and they bought it at night, and so I didn't see it until the next morning. And to be really honest, I don't see every single order.
Me either.
I don't, but they messaged me and said, "Hey, you didn't ask me for my shipping address." It's like, well, that's because I'm not shipping anything, right? And of course, you're thinking, you're getting a custom chess set for $8. That is a steal. That's
right.
Yeah, that's why I bought 3.
Yeah, right.
Well, and my favorite is when they buy something of mine on sale for $3. I can't even ship it for that amount. No, it's not even like it's not possible.
I mean, I don't know how you run your business. I'm in the business to get deals, and $3 for a watch band is a deal to me. Free shipping.
I'm thinking you ought to list it to say, if you buy this, I'll pay you $5.
Right, pretty much.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fun stuff, and honestly, again, vast majority are just fantastic. They really are.
Very much really so. Are. They keep me going, honestly. Like, just the fact that they love them so much and that it makes them money. That's the crazy part to me too, is that
it's great.
I sell stuff for like friends and family, but I'm not out here making, a whole bunch of ornaments and doing a whole bunch of stuff. So the fact that I can get these designs that are in my head out and they can take them and make money. And that one that I mentioned, it is different. It's not a design, but a tutorial I did. And then that mom with the laser group, there was some, I showed them, the group, how to edit nodes, and it paid her mortgage, the design she made from doing that. And it just stories like that just make it like,
and wasn't she getting ready to sell?
She was ready to sell all of her stuff and give up.
Yeah, because she couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
That's so good.
It makes it that much more enjoyable, to just to do this. Yeah. And I mean,
I love it.
One thing that I wanted to say was, I remember when I was, again, brand new, had no experience with lasers, and I can't tell you how many times I know I commented on Mark's stuff and said, I want to be you one day. And I feel like I'm a little bit, I'm approaching, I think, almost 8,000 sales on Etsy.
Oh, that's great.
Which, again, is crazy to me because, I didn't get into this to become a file designer. It just kind of, after so many times of just showing off the cool thing I made and people saying, oh, are you selling that? And I'm like, ooh. I think it was probably at least 6 months where I was like, oh, no, I don't know how to sell designs. And then finally I was like, well, let me see. Let me try.
It sounds like we may have started it in a similar way then, because I didn't start selling designs either.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so real quick, I was one of the early backers
forever.
So I ordered my first Glowforge in 2015, and I will say that they were, I won't say deceptive, but I will say not. They said
not completely transparent.
Well, I will say that 10,000 of us. This was public. 10,000 of us pre-bought in October of 2015, with the expectation that we'd get it in December of 2015.
Oh my God!
And right,
knowing how long it took for you to get it,
was a little late. It turned out to be December of 2017. So it was 2 years.
You should see John's face right now. See, this is why when eventually we get to video. Yeah.
That's crazy.
My goodness. I mean, and so,
and then there's no way to call them, apparently.
Well, no, there isn't, but I will tell you, just to give them credit where credit's due, every month or more often even than that, they give us updates.
Okay. So at least there is that.
Okay.
Well, and they said every month, And I was really impressed with the way that Dan, the CEO, communicated, because he would say things. I remember telling my wife, I said, I'm kind of frustrated, but he kind of took the air out of my sails, because he basically said stuff like, hey, if I was you, I'd be disappointed too.
Right. Validating.
And then right. And then he'd say, if you want a refund, ask for it. There'll be no questions asked. You get it.
Okay. Good. Yeah.
And I thought, I'm going to hold on. And then I decided, like a lot of people, just act like the money's gone. Let's forget about it.
Right.
And so I did forget about it. And I'm really glad I did, because I finally got my first laser in 2017 in December. And I remember, of
Merry
course,
Christmas.
Right. Yeah, right. It was like, I think it was like December 3rd or something like that. And, I kind of smile a little bit when people say, OMG, my laser's going to show up in 3 weeks. I got to hurry up and prepare. I'm like, I prepared for 2 freaking years.
Right. Or the people who are, I love when people comment about how long it's going to take. I mean, either for Glowforge or for the Mira, and you're like, yeah, I waited 2 years.
Well, I waited 2 years.
Win.
Right. Yeah, I win. And so when it hit my doorstep, I don't know if there's a person on the planet more prepared than I was. Like, right. Because I had 2 years, you know? And so I was just learning how to do, well, I wasn't learning because I didn't know how it all worked, but I was kind of preparing. And so I had my first cut going. It probably hit my doorstep, and I had my first cut going in about 20 minutes.
Yeah, it sounds about right for Mark.
Yeah, I mean, I was going.
Well, I mean, you get the itch for 2 years.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I mean, it was crazy.
I'm calling in sick that day.
Right.
Right. And I'm trying to think. So at the time, I was a full-time self-employed web designer and graphic designer. Okay, cool. And I never had any training. I just trained myself.
Yeah.
And you know how that goes probably. Some days are great. Some days are terrible.
Yep.
And I'll kind of out myself on this a little bit. Some people say, wow, I really like your style of design. And I always say, thanks. But what they don't know is I design away from the things I don't know how to do.
Oh, totally.
Right.
Yeah, but they don't know that.
Right.
They think that I made the strategic choice.
Right.
And I'm like, no, I don't know how to do the other thing. So,
right. I only know how to do this one way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they go, that's your style. Well, yes, it is, because I don't know how to do this one.
I don't know. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this on the podcast, but so I actually have a degree in finance, because that's what my job at the time paid for. So they covered my schooling as long as, you got a C or better, and it applied to your job. And so I was, what you're doing. I was, in accounting. And so, finance degree applied to what I was doing. So they paid for my 11 years of school, because I was going part-time and working full-time. But I started to get to the core classes, and I'm not a math person, which is another reason that the curve gets me. It's not hard math, but it's just enough to, numbers. Boggle me. Yes. And I was getting to the core classes of finance, and because it's not what I wanted to do, I was doing it because it was a free degree. It was very hard for me to, one, care about the subject, and to retain things. Yeah. So I was really struggling with those difficult, the core classes. And I thought about abandoning the finance degree altogether and switching to graphic design, because I did know that I've always been creative, and I knew I wanted to do something like that. Like, even at work, I loved making PowerPoints, or, just anything that allowed me to be creative. I was all over. The 8 hours would go, like that, as opposed to when I was coding invoices, I would fill every single minute of that. So I was like, let me see, let me look into, let me stop forcing it and do something I actually want to do. Well, then when they told me it was going to add 3 more years to my already, I think I was at year 8 when I found out that, it was going to add an additional 3 years, basically starting over. I was like, never mind. Okay, I can do this. Let me just truck along. Let me get this piece of paper. Let me have a degree. Let me finish it. And then, I'll find a way to be creative. I had no idea that this was, in my path, but I basically was self-taught just because I hate school. So when I couldn't figure something out, I would just try again and look on YouTube and look for tutorials. And there's not a lot, at least 3 years ago. I mean, when we started, there wasn't a ton of tutorials on how to make things for the laser. And if there were, they were for different lasers. So that made it confusing because I didn't understand the terms they were saying. Right. Yeah. Or they were doing different things. They were like making awards and engraving cutting boards. And not that there's anything wrong with those things, but that wasn't what I was interested in. Right. I was interested in, the cool signs and, stands and that kind of stuff. So, yeah. Self-taught, cool. I think, is almost. I didn't know that about you. Yeah. Cool. So, I mean, I have a passion for this, but I have a degree in something. I actually have accounting people. I don't do my own accounting. I can, but I do not want to. I attempted to, and I just kept putting it off. And then it was half the year's gone and I've done no bookkeeping. And now I'm like, okay, this isn't working. And so then I finally, hired someone out, and now I literally just send them everything and they do it all for me. And I'm much happier for it.
Yeah. And I love people who love to do my taxes and my accounting because I don't.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I hate it. And I'm like, why am I torturing myself just because I can do it? Doesn't mean I want to do it. So let me give them the money and they like doing it, I hope. And then I have more time for something else.
Let me tell you a little story about that, man. Just my journey of learning the importance of that. I don't know how many years ago now. I need to actually figure it out, but maybe, 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago, something like that, maybe longer. So I started working as a graphic designer, just totally self-taught. And I remember when I first started working, there was a lot of legitimate graphic designers, like people who went to school for this,
right? People
who knew how to use all the brushes in Photoshop.
Right.
I mean, these crazy people, like,
right.
and here I am. And in fact, I'll tell the truth. I was probably self-employed as a graphic designer for a couple of years before I learned how to cut something out of the background. Like, I didn't know how to do it at all. And so what I did was I would do it something different, and people would go, "Oh, I really like your style." Like, it's because I don't know how to do that.
Right.
But nobody knew I didn't know how to do it. And of course I didn't want to admit that.
Right.
That's like Photoshop 101 for a designer. But, so I started doing graphic design, and I met this guy, who I had worked with at another job, and he's an amazing artist. Just, he can draw. He's a great designer on the computer. And we kind of teamed up and we said, hey, let's make a company together. And I had just started a company called, and this is funny too, called Big Blue Designs. And
is that why there's that little like carrot and you added the laser?
Yes.
I love that.
I started, and what's funny is I can't remember what was happening, but I was coming to a point like in a couple of days where I had to have a name for my company. I didn't have one. And I said, oh my gosh, I got to come up with one. And every name I came up with, I hated. And then I thought, well, I'm from Michigan, and it's like Go Blue, and okay, Big Blue. And I said, that's a stupid name. I don't want to use that name. And I couldn't come up with anything else. So I said, fine, Big Blue Designs it is.
Yeah.
And so we bought the domain name, and I really didn't like it.
Yeah.
I thought it wasn't creative at all. Well, I just went to work, and a year went by, and I've still got this name, and now it kind of is synonymous with me.
Yeah, you can't.
It's like, well, I'm stuck with it now.
It's you now.
Right, it is me, and so that's okay today. But so here's where I was going with the story is talking about things you do that you don't enjoy doing, like if you don't enjoy accounting. So this guy's name is Josh. He's a dear friend and amazing designer. He started telling me this craziness. He started saying, that he was turning down work that was offered to him because he didn't enjoy that work. And I said, that's ridiculous. Why would you do that? And I said, dude, you're broke. And I'm basically broke. I'm going to say yes to everything. He said, and he said the craziest thing that I now think is brilliant. He said, Mark, I am just pursuing things that bring me joy. And I said, I'm pursuing things that bring me money.
Right? Money brings me joy.
Yeah. And what's funny is he's younger than me. He understood something I didn't understand.
That's impressive. Because it took me a long time to figure that out.
Right. Well, and honestly, I do recognize there are seasons in life where you can't do that. I understand.
Right.
Totally. I get it. But in general, grand picture is my goal is to keep working until I'm only doing the things I love.
Yeah.
And I got to be honest, spoiler alert, that's exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah,
I love
same.
everything I do. Love it.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, when I was doing graphic design, it was interesting. I absolutely hated making brochures. And weirdly, I was good at it. And I didn't enjoy it at all.
That sucks when
Oh, and I got paid pretty good for it.
Right.
And then here's the flip side. I love doing business cards, and you get paid almost nothing for that.
I need a new business card.
Hey, I can help you. Even though I'm technically not taking customers, I'll help you.
Okay.
But,
thank you.
but I realized I kept doing these things, and Josh said, I'm going to pass. I was like, dude, it's like, and I said however much money it was. It's $500 or whatever it was. And he says, I just don't enjoy it. And I thought,
that's
how
awesome.
dumb.
Yeah.
Well, right. And now I realize, oh, wow, that's where I wanted to be. Well, I didn't want to be at the time, but now I think, oh, that's great. And so that's kind of where I started. And then kind of fast forward all the way to when I got my Glowforge, right? I had no intention of doing a business with a laser at all. I just said, this is a cool machine. I got to have it. I don't even really know what to do with it. I just got to have it. Well, in fact, let me be transparent here. I didn't have the money at all to buy it. And my mom said, oh, I'll buy it for you. And so my mom paid for my first Glowforge. I know. And she didn't understand what it was. And she just said, my son wants it. I'm going to help him. And I was like, wow, that's amazing.
That's awesome. And I bullied my husband into it.
Yep. I believe that.
Yeah. Yep. I was just doing the math. So she said that she got it in October of 17. October of 18. We moved from Colorado
at the end of August.
At the end of August.
That
same year.
So
it was like right away.
No,
like 2 months.
Nice.
I was already thinking about it before we left the state.
And had not said a word.
Which I don't believe, because I must have just been so in the Facebook groups that I just didn't.
Yeah, exactly. You were.
Well, it wasn't on purpose.
And now the podcast turns to couples therapy.
Right?
Oh, it always does. It always does.
Well, when I got my Glowforge, I had no idea. I had no intention of making it a business of any kind. I was just going to make stuff and hope that, one, that I had fun. And then maybe someone would buy something from me someday. I didn't know.
Right, yeah.
And so the very first thing I did was I cut out my daughter's name out of wood. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is great. And, And
man, that first cut is so fun, wasn't it? Like, I still remember of, like, we were both watching it.
Your first.
I mean, don't you remember when and we were like, that is so cool. We were cutting the Gift of Good Measure. And we were like, whoa.
I don't remember that as much as I remember the first machine of the Eon. No.
Oh.
Using the Eon and the burning, and I hear the
yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh.
But
to some degree, I'm still not over that. I still love it.
Yes.
Yeah, well, but mine is like, the Glowforge, the cut of, what is it, Good Measure or whatever?
Gift of Good Measure.
Gift of Good, I had no idea what it was. So I didn't, it didn't, but the Eon, like, I knew what it was. Like, I already had, like, some, so it was a little more exciting for me the second time around.
True.
And which one do you have?
I have the 9.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
I love
that's great. Boy, and let's just talk about that for a second. I mean, just like the Glowforge, obviously I had 2 years to think about it, but I knew exactly how big it was. I had a desk ready like a year early.
Really?
Wow.
I was so excited. Well, you got to remember, we thought it was coming out every month. So we didn't know it was going to be 2 years. And so I had it measured, like I knew how much space I needed. And when that thing showed up, it was still bigger than I thought. It was the Glowforge was.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you go to the mirror. Holy crap!
Oh my god,
that thing is.
It takes up my whole office. It's pretty ridiculous. Like it's huge, and so you know how big it is. Well,
yeah.
My husband and his brother got it in by themselves.
That's right.
Okay, then I'm no longer telling my story. I'm not doing it.
But to be fair,
his brother is a bodybuilder.
My brother's a bodybuilder. One, we had the lifting straps.
Yeah. It was super sketch.
And no real. I mean, we had like a step up in the door and then a step down. But we didn't go like down any steps. You know, we weren't putting this in a basement. Yeah. We weren't putting it anywhere, and it's not exactly like a far, you know. Like,
and in our defense too, we had your brother, your guys' friend was supposed to come, and he canceled that morning.
Yeah, he did. But honestly, like, I don't know how he would have helped.
He could have just really like
because the doorway
the shit show.
Because the doorway.
No, right.
The doorway is such where you can only have, you know, one person on either side, not even in the middle. Yeah. So
I still would have appreciated if he could have just been there to like, you know,
catch it when it fell.
Yes, if it was starting to go to the right or go to the left, because I couldn't do anything. I was newly pregnant,
right.
And not that I really could have helped anyway. Again,
if that thing decided to fall, it would.
Yeah, you need to just move. Yeah.
So let me just get this straight. So because I haven't told you my story, I'm not going to now because you had two guys, a pregnant woman, and a guy who didn't show up.
Right. Yeah.
And you got it done. And let's just say I had more people than that. And I will say
everybody
that it took us a long time.
Everybody has more people than we did.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's been a couple unfortunate people who...
I also don't know fully 100% how it got up onto the stand.
The stand?
Oh my god. I heard the stand like
it broke.
Crack.
I had to go back in.
Well, all it was like the edging. Yes. It didn't actually it broke, but it was fixable.
Yeah, yeah, and it wasn't anything.
So I'm sitting in the living room, which is right outside the office, and I hear, and I'm like, I don't want to know. No one is screaming. No one's hurt.
That was my bad.
Right? Yeah.
Good news, and we have bad news.
Right.
Good news is that it's up on the table.
Yeah.
Bad news is the table suffered some damage.
Yeah.
I'm quite certain I shouldn't say this because, you know, people are going to hear it, but let's just say we're like, nobody's stealing this because they can't get it out of here.
No.
There's no way.
Yeah.
There isn't.
No way.
I mean, you know what? If you do steal it, you deserve it.
Right.
Oh,
pretty much.
You worked hard to get that out.
We even talked about after I got it in there. I said, I'm not totally sure I want it in this room, and everybody's like, "Who cares?"
No, it is. No, that's the room that you wanted it in. It's the room you got it in.
And I will tell you that when we had it, we had the stand. I don't know if you made a stand. We bought the one that came from them.
Yeah, no, we
had one. Well,
yeah, Mindy's husband made it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, we had the one that we bought from them. Just it was easy, and so we did that.
Yeah.
And so we were trying to get it. You know how? Well, you probably don't know this. It has holes in it where the feet go to kind of drop into the stand.
Oh no.
Okay.
So it kind of sits in the right place.
Nope.
And we didn't have it in the right place yet. And one of the guys says, "Oh, hold on." He got under the machine.
Oh God.
And said, "I got it."
No,
and
you
so
don't.
he's just pushing up with his back, and he totally did.
Wow.
Wow.
Brave.
Okay.
Not so smart.
He put his back on the machine.
Well,
like and lifted it. So
wow.
It was.
He basically did like a leg press.
Sort of with his spine. Yes. I mean,
wow.
I said, "There's no way this is going to work," and it goes. I was like, "Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Don't send me the bill for your chiropractor or anything. We're good." Well, that's a monster machine. I mean, it's great. I love it.
It's amazing, though. Yeah,
it really is. But I will tell you also, because I had a Glowforge before, and because I've been doing design, my learning curve wasn't as probably long as maybe someone else's.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But it was not 5 minutes either.
No.
In fact, I'm still kind of learning it a little bit.
Me too. Yeah, definitely. And I'm at about, so I got mine in December of last year. So I'm nearing my year anniversary. But I also didn't get as much use on it as I had planned to because of the pregnancy and all of that. And now shifted into more designs. And so I don't take many orders, like you. It's friends and family. And even then I'm starting to cut those off because I have so much other thing, going on with the podcast. And then now we're making, courses, that are, more in-depth, like teaching of how to do things, in silhouette for lasers. So I don't have time to take orders anymore. And so when I do something, it's, I think 10, sets of earrings or, a sign design or, it's here and there. Like it doesn't get used nearly as much as I had planned to when I got it, which again is crazy because you never know where this is going to take you. Yeah. Like you said, you bought the Glowforge and it was a hobby. And I did buy my Glowforge to, see if it could further my business because I was hating t-shirts. So like your friend who, like, super smart, not taking stuff that he didn't like because I hated when I would get orders for t-shirts. I despised them. And I'm like, I have to do something else because this is not what I started doing them for. I wanted to find something, well, first of all, I bought it so that I could make stuff for my son. And then it turned into me making them for everybody but my son. And I was like, I don't like this anymore. So I need to take this momentum of having customers and having this base, but actually enjoying, what I'm doing. And I remember my favorite part of my business was when I no longer had to say yes or felt like I had to say yes. Because in the beginning, in the beginning, you have $200 in your business account and someone comes to you and they say, I want to give you $100 to make XYZ. And you're like, oh, yes. You don't even let them finish the sentence before you're like, yes. And then you do it. And it takes you way longer than you think it's going to because you're new and you don't know how long something's going to take you. I still to this day, 3 years in, it takes longer than my brain tells me it's going to take. And, I'm better at it, but definitely, it's not a perfect science by any means. And, I'll think of something in the design and then I'll cut everything and be like, oh, well, duh. And it's duh once it happens, but in the moment, it's not duh until you cut everything and then you're like, great. Okay. Let me try this again. But, just not having to say yes to everything it's my favorite moment. And it's when also my business took off. Like I tell people, when I see them do the post of I'm making everything that everybody else is making and nobody's buying it. And it's like, okay, stop. Start making something you actually want to make. Sure. If you can make the trendy thing and it sells, and it gets you some money, fantastic. But if that's not working, try making something you actually want to make because 9 times out of 10, you enjoying it shows in your work.
Right.
Absolutely.
And then people want to buy it because you're not trying to sell them. That helps too.
Well, and let me add something to that. There's 2 parts that I would want to add is also, if sometimes there's a gap between when you start pushing that direction and when it pays off. Yeah. And if you love what you're doing, you can survive the gap, right? But if you're doing something you hate, the gap lasts forever.
Yeah. Yeah. Much more painful gap.
Right. And one of the other things that I love to talk about is pricing because it just drives me crazy when I hear people say, nobody will pay that where I live. And I'm like, you live in the world now. Like you don't live in, like I live in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Whenever I sold stuff all the time, I almost never had local customers.
Yeah, me
I
either.
wasn't even trying to get them. Yeah. I'm selling online. I'm selling to people I've never met and never will meet. I'm getting repeat customers from Houston and from Orlando and from, all over the place. And they didn't, sometimes after like the third buy, they'd say, oh, by the way, where are you? They don't even know where I am. You know? And I'll tell you this I hope this encourages somebody. It's like when I started doing web design, you know how this goes. There's always a ton of people that are better than you at what you're doing. And you're always playing that stupid comparison game. There's somebody better than me.
Yes.
Well, that's never going to end. Like, no. Ever.
It'll never go away. So
I remember the first website I made that I got paid for, I got paid $100. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is fantastic.
Right.
And I remember it was a $100 bill because somebody actually gave it to me. And I brought it home to my wife and I said, check it out. She said, was that for the website? I said, yeah. And she goes, you got paid $100? And I said, yeah. She said, how long did you spend on that? And I said, I don't know, 30 or 40 hours.
Right.
Not bad.
Thanks a lot.
30 hours, right? I know. It was
Dream
ridiculous.
crusher.
I know. Stop it. Just take the 100.
So happy you got $100. And, how long did you take?
Like all week.
Right.
And so then I remember when I raised my prices from $100 to $200, I thought, no one's ever going to pay me $200, like ever.
Yeah.
And of course they did.
Right.
And then I raised to $300, I raised to $500, and I raised to $1,000. And I thought, I'm going to charge freaking $1,250. And I thought, that's the last customer I've ever get. No one's ever going to pay that.
Right.
And of course they did.
Yeah.
And what I learned, this is stupid, but somebody needs to hear this. You lose the old customer, but you gain a new one, right? Like there's going to be someone that says, I'm not paying that. And you're right, they aren't. So you're going to get somebody else.
Well, and so the other thing too, if you price too low, you're also going to get the customers who have unreasonable expectations for the $0 they're spending on something. Right. The customers, and it's sad to say, but it's just how it is. The customers who have spent a couple $100 with me are easier to please than the people who have spent $10 to $20.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's I don't know. It's just how business goes. You know what I mean?
Yep. Totally.
I saw this great.
I remember. Oh, go ahead.
No, I saw this great Instagram story on this video editor who is talking to a potential client of I think it's like a potential client, and he's like, "Listen, I'll assume all risk. I'll make the video for free. All I ask from you is 50% of all new sales." And the guy's like, he's like, "I'll do it for free. I'll do your video for free and everything for free. And you just give me 50% of all new sales." And he's like, "Why are you so hesitant?" And he's like, "Well, I'm afraid that you're going to make a fire video. And now I have to pay you 50% of all this money."
Yeah.
He's like, "Exactly. I will make a fire video.
Right.
And I will make more than what, just pay me what I'm worth."
Right.
Then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And you can keep all the profits.
Right.
Pay me what I'm worth and you keep all the profits.
Or
give me 50% of, and it was basically a video to show you like why you pay people what they're worth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because if this dude, okay, fine. Then I'll assume all risk and give me 50% of all new sales. You keep all your other sales. And he was saying it's what is it called? Strictly honor system.
Yeah.
Like I'll trust what you say, whatever you say. And the guy's like, why are you being so hesitant?
Yeah.
It's a great deal.
Yeah.
I assume all the risk.
Yeah.
And then he's like, no, because you're going to make a bomb ass video.
Right.
And then I'm going to be out 50% of new sales.
Right.
And that could be a lot more than you're charging me for the video. He's like, exactly. So pay me what I'm worth.
Right.
And you should say, and it's 50% of the sales you didn't have before I got here.
Yep.
Right. Well, it's again, it was a video to show like why you pay people what they're worth, but it was an interesting take on it. Because it's like, oh yeah,
yes, right. I love that. That's great. I had a client who, he lives on the East Coast, and I live in the middle of the country. And he was asking me, "Hey man, how much would you charge to make this kind of website?" He described it. And at the time I was probably, 3,000 something in the neighborhood. And he said, "Wow, you can't get that around here for less than 8 or 10,000." And
in that case,
and I said, well, and I still was maturing in my thinking. And I said, I don't know why anybody would pay that. And he said, they pay that all the time out here. And honestly, I didn't make the transition in my head for probably another year at least. But I just had to realize that there are always customers who will pay a different amount. You just may not be comfortable with it, but you gotta learn. And so when I see people, and I know for the most part for the laser designs, we're not talking about that kind of money.
Right. Yeah.
But I'll give you an example of one I read in my group yesterday. Is somebody said, one of my designs that's most popular is these letter banks that I make. And lots of people use those. And everybody's always asking, how much can you sell these for? And I tell them, well, it depends on what material you're using. It depends on what kind of finish you're doing. Yeah. But this one lady, I won't name her name, but she said, well, I had been selling them. I think it was for $65. She said, I'm raising my price to $85.
Wow.
And right. And I'm like, high five, go girl. Right.
Right.
I mean, if the money's there, get it.
Yeah.
Right.
Because your customers aren't complaining.
Right.
And there's other people saying, I don't think I can make $20 on that. And I'm like, well, because two parts, your mindset is wrong.
Right.
And you're also thinking your local corner, in the town you live, instead of the world being your customers.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Well,
so if your town isn't going to pay that, then don't sell it to your town.
Well, it's like your ornaments. Right. When they went viral, you had to upcharge.
Yes.
You had to up your rates because
I was so transparent with them.
Hey, you can get this somewhere else cheaper.
I told them, I said, yes, like they went viral. You can get them from me. I said, but I have to price them higher so that it doesn't
it's worth your while.
And it doesn't get to the point that, I can't fulfill orders. And so I said, it will be more expensive with me and you can get them somewhere else cheaper. Like, I literally said that. I was like, but if you want to buy them from me, they will be more expensive. They will take this many weeks. And if it was cause a couple of them were, they were sold at a craft fair. And so all of them weren't, my design. Some of them I had actually purchased but a lot of them were my designs. And I said, so if they're my design and you know someone who has a laser and you have a friend who has a laser, have them go buy my $4 design and they can make it for you. Like I was basically telling people to go somewhere else. Or you can buy the ornament for me from, I think my cheapest ornament, I think was $15, but that was maybe one of them. That was a super simple, not a lot of engraving, single layer. But the other ones were $20, $25. The same ornament everyone else, the fuck flakes. I hated those, by the way. I will never sell another one of those again ever in my life. But those, everyone was selling those. And I told them, I'm like, if you want one from me, it's $20. But if you want it somewhere else, fantastic. I didn't want them to be, oh, she went viral. Now she's charging this ridiculous amount for, the ornaments. It was like, no, this is what this is my price that makes it worth it for me to make them.
Yes.
If you still want it, I will make it happen for you. So, and I was, with going viral, a similar analogy, you can't plan that, so it's not like I planned I was actually shutting off orders. I had literally turned off all orders and I said, no more. And then I went viral. I was like, well, crap. Okay, I'm going to make you pay for this.
One more run.
Me talking about the price of a website. Every time I raised my price, you also got to remember that there was somebody else who did not raise their price. Like, in other words, when I'm at $5,000, there's also somebody at $700 still.
Right.
And just like you, I said, you can get it somewhere else. And I got to a point where I said, I want my customers to want me. And if I have to convince them, then
they're not.
That's okay. I'm not going to. They're not my customer, right?
Yep.
And that's okay. And I'm not upset.
Yeah.
I wish you all the best.
Right.
I hope your business is amazing.
Yep.
But if my portfolio and my personality and my reputation doesn't sell you, that's okay.
Right.
That's all right. Because it will sell somebody else. And it took me a while to get that confidence, And now I am, and I wish I had learned that earlier, but I didn't.
Same. It takes experiences, though. It takes all of those little things along the way. Your friend was lucky in that he, money or not, he was like, no, I'm not going to do things I don't want to do, which, again, I wish I could have. But, not everybody has that freedom. And we were on one income from two very good incomes to one that was kind of like, it works. And staying home with just one son at the time. And so, again, I didn't have the freedom necessarily to to say no when someone wanted to order something.
Right.
And so, sure, do it in that moment, but then, also find the time to make something you want as well. Like a lot of people, when they talk about burnout, I've made, I don't know, say they've made, 500 ornaments and they're just over it. And it's like, well, take a day, make something you want to make, get it out of your system, make a gift for a friend, make a sign, for yourself. Cause one thing we're all really bad at is making things for ourselves a lot of times. If I made something for you, it's, for our own house, it's because I wanted to test out a design. Most of the time.
Guilty.
Yeah. So, take a day, make something you actually want to make, and then get back to the one that's paying the bills right now, or, whatever.
Right.
Are there any hat racks?
Okay, I got to ask you, because I wonder if we have the same...
Whatever.
Let's see if we have the same problem, or if you can teach me something. So when you design, when you create a design that you're going to sell the design...
Yeah.
I assume just like me, you make the item, and you probably make it more than once until you get it right.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I have this fantasy that I'll get it right the first time, and that basically never happens.
Almost never.
And my joke is, I'll tell my wife, or I've got a girl that works with me in the office. I tell her, "Man, I dodged a bullet. I almost got that right the first time."
Right. Yeah.
But then I didn't. There it is. But I make stuff, and of course, then I make a thing, and then I take photos of it and I post it, and then I've got this thing sitting here.
Yes, I don't know what to do with it.
I can't quite throw it away. And
no.
Well, here's the thing. I when I first started, I gave them away to family and friends. I even gave them away on my Facebook page. Said, hey, I don't know if you saw me do this. I think it was last year or the year before.
Yeah.
I said, hey, I'll pay for the postage and everything.
Right.
You can have it. I just want to bless somebody. But the problem is, I started making so many designs I couldn't keep up with that. And
right.
So
yeah.
I've made probably 300 now, and I've got I won't tell you, maybe 100 of them in the office. Like I look like the cat lady.
It's horrible.
You should do a miscellaneous box giveaway.
Yeah, that's
a mystery box.
Oh, that's what I meant to say, that I was giving away to all your listeners. No, that's actually not.
Right? Hey, they'll probably take it. I know. I'm actually going to post on my, my personal page and kind of like officially let everybody know that I'm not taking any more orders, so just because I'm terrible, it's really hard for me to say no. So I don't want them to ask me. So I'm like putting it out like, hey, I'm not good at saying no. So don't ask me. This is my accountability. I'm not doing anymore because I really need to focus on these other aspects of my business that I really want to do. However, my compromise to them is that when I make a design, I'll be selling the samples for cheap. So say I make, I just made a huge earring bundle. I'll sell the earrings for, $5 or something, where I'd normally sell that when I had my consignment store. I'd sell it for, $12 or $14. Some people sell their earrings for $20. It all depends on their market and their own price and whatever. But I'll sell it for $5 just so you can get it out of my house. I'm fine with even 2 or 3. I almost don't even care if it covers the materials at this point. I just want it out of my house because I can't throw it away. Right. I kind of want to give it away, but then you also run out of people to give it away to as well. Because so if I'm going to give it away, I kind of want to help use it to also help my followers grow or my business grow. Well, the people I'm giving it away to, the laser people, they can make it themselves, so they don't really want it. But I don't want more people who don't own a laser to follow me, because then they want me to make stuff.
Well, it's kind of like a pet. You want to give it to a good home. Right?
Exactly. I want to give it to somebody who's going to love it, because even though I don't have anything to do with it, I still I made it, so I like it, but I want someone to take it who is going to love on it. And
then you go to like the Dirty Santa thing, and you see someone giving a Riley Black thing away. You're like, wait a minute,
right?
I gave that to you.
Wah, wah.
they're re-gifting, right? Like, wait a minute, hold on.
You're allowed to do it, but I just don't want to see it.
Right. Don't do it around me. Right. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That would require me leaving the house, though, so that doesn't really happen.
My wife has, it's just awesome. And she's my biggest supporter, of course. She's fantastic. But I have to, when I throw away things, because I just have too many of them, I have to do it when she's not around. Because she's dug them out of the trash and said, somebody should have those. I said, then find that somebody.
Right, then fine. It's your responsibility.
Right. And so I will tell you, I'm not going to do a video with this because it would be too much. But in our garage right now, there are my old designs sitting on a rack in the garage that she pulled out of the trash.
Oh, no.
That didn't go anywhere. They're still out there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? I actually love that because she loves me and she's proud of me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome.
At the same time, they're sitting in the garage.
Right. Yeah.
Because they didn't quite make it to the curb.
Yeah. If anybody has any, wonderful, I do like the mystery box idea too. That John has brought up. I think you brought it up once before, right? Yeah. I could throw in all of those earrings and they have no idea what they look like, but you spend $15, $20 and they'll be good. They'll be the good ones. They're not going to be the duds where like, oh, that didn't work. Those legit do go in the trash or go to, recycling, which Amanda's recycling program, I have so much to give her for that because I use mostly acrylic now. But I'll keep the actual duds, so you'll be getting good stuff. But just make it the mystery pack because I gotta find a way to get them out of my house.
Okay, so I'm quite certain I shouldn't say this because this is like looking behind the curtain. But since most of the things I do are for other people to buy the designs. Mm-hmm. I'm going to tell you the truth that I'm whispering so no one hears me. That sometimes I make stuff and it's like not painted on the backside because nobody can see it.
Oh, totally.
Or like it held together in a goofy way because
totally, yeah.
And the design works, but I screwed it up when I made it, or I yesterday or not yesterday.
And the fix to it, or
Oh, I can. Yeah, I was putting together several of those. I just made some. Little lanterns, these monogram lanterns. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why I did this. I just did it because I thought I needed to be a good person. I cut all 26 letters of the alphabet so that I could, and then painted all of them so that I can then take photos of all of them just to prove that I actually did them all, which is great. And then when I was putting them together for photos, I broke more than one of them by pushing too hard and snapping them.
Oh, right.
And so I ended up, guys, if you see the photos out there, the back side of all those lanterns are broken, but you can't tell because it's turned away from the camera, right? Because I broke it, And I've never photoshopped something that had glue where it shouldn't have been. I've never done that.
Yeah, sure.
But I've heard people do that. That's really super lazy.
Hey. Fast food commercials, that food is not edible.
This is true.
Oh, I know that. Right.
It's called good marketing.
Times.
Right.
That's awesome.
So
I don't know when the right time to say this is, so I'm just going to say this now.
Do it, yeah.
Hey, you can move it to another part of the podcast. I made a coupon for all of your listeners.
Oh yes, I almost forgot. So I reminded you.
The code is going to be. You ready? You have to write this down. It's Riley Black. Okay, RILEYBLACK, and you get. And what that'll get is $6. Basically, most of my designs are $6. There's some that are more, but vast majority, about 200 and some odd of them are $6. That'll get $6 off any item that you want, or you can use it against the price of something higher. But nice. So basically, that more or less gets you a free design.
That's awesome. And is that on your website or your Etsy? Okay.
Yep. I'll put it on both. Right now, it's only on the. So by the time this podcast goes out, it'll be on both.
Perfect.
And so they can use that, and it's one per person. And I am going to I'm going to have it go until the end of November.
Awesome.
So that way, because I know that some people won't hear this.
Yeah, some people listen a little. 15th. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And
so I
then
want to make sure everybody gets a shot at it.
You also did one, which don't say it if you did. You did one for the paid patron listeners as well.
I did, but I won't say it.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. That will be posted
on Patreon.
Only on the Patreon page.
Okay.
So
Very good.
That one we will
so
not say.
After we get off
live,
yes. We'll talk about that.
Yes.
Yes. And if you want that, feel free to subscribe.
Right.
Yeah. Right. And where do they subscribe at again?
So it's Patreon. All of it's in the Facebook group. There's a link in the Facebook group, but it's basically patreon.com/The Riley Black Project to check out all the
softball. As a softball, I just pitched you there.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome. No problem.
And then I also wanted to talk about, so what's new in your world is your new Facebook group.
Yes. So I've wanted to do this for several years, and people have asked me to do it.
Yeah.
And my
when you had that
always,
one, you have the maid with a Glowforge, right, or whatever.
Well, that's it wasn't ever mine. It's a friend who an online friend, that she said, "Hey, would you help me do this?" I said, "Of course."
Okay.
And so I've been adminning for her, but it was not my group.
Okay. Yeah. It's just one you're helping out.
Yeah, and she's super busy, and she does a great work, and she has a physical store up in Michigan.
Oh, cool.
And so I just help her with that, and she's great, and everything's awesome there. But I've always wanted to do one, but I've always thought, you know what, the world doesn't need another group that's the same.
So
because honestly,
I
why?
struggled with that. I literally just started a silhouette for lasers group, and I thought. I really tried hard not to because I manage so many groups now. I'm a moderator for That Mom with a Laser. I have Laser Me This with Heather. I help Heather with her Glow Create group. I'm not as much anymore, but I also help with the engraving silicone and watchbands group. So it was like I didn't want my podcast group. It was like I don't need another group, and I almost I thought for a second how can I just combine one so that I don't have to start another one? And it didn't make sense. I needed it to really just be about silhouette and lasers. And so I reluctantly started another one because, and people have been joining it very fast, which surprised me. But, cause who needs another laser group? Right. And it's so funny too when people join and you see 35 groups in common and, it's oh, okay. So you're a Facebook group hoarder just like me. It's nice to see you.
Well, let me tell you on that one. Okay. So I won't name the name, but so when I launched my group, I got a whole bunch of people requesting, and there was one where I said approve. I've never seen this before. Maybe you have. Mm-hmm. I said approve, and there's a little pop-up in the middle of the window that Facebook said, "I'm sorry, that person is in too many groups. Ask them to leave a couple and come back."
What?
They were in 902 groups.
Whoa.
Oh my God.
Now, of course, if you're listening, you know who you are, and you have a problem.
Right?
Because 900 groups is a lot.
Oh my God.
And we had an episode just on.
Yeah, we had an episode just on how many groups is too many.
Yeah.
And we talked about our, right? We found the number. Wow.
Yeah. And it's funny is it didn't say what the number was. It just said this one's too many. I don't know what the number was. It was 902. Wow. So I don't actually know if they're in my group now because I had to decline them. I don't know if they came back. And so, yeah. So back to the group thing. So I didn't want, because, there's several big groups and several wonderful groups.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
I mean, that Mom with the Laser is one of my favorite groups.
Yeah,
and
that's awesome.
I remember when I think it was, and I know
you were one of the first guys we let in.
I know, and
you're the reason we changed our rule because were. I mean, so Emily's vision at first, which we've talked about a couple times, but her vision at first was to find a safe place for especially the more industrial lasers, because in Glowforge that didn't really seem to be a problem. But in the more industrial lasers, it was a very male, dominated industry. And unfortunately, she would post something, and it'd be a cool teacher gift. and, you know, they were all engraving guns and whatever. And so this teacher gift, they were like, ugh, like, you know, and so they weren't welcoming, or they'd try and like give advice, but it would be condescending. And, you know, so it was just like, at first it was started as a way to, you know, for support for women in the industry. And then we had situations like with you, and there were a couple other, you know, men who were not like that. And it was hard we didn't want to turn that away, because, you know, you and other men were a great asset to the community and the group, and weren't part of the problem. And so they were like, okay, but we can let in certain guys. And you were one of those certain guys.
Well, I don't remember the exact words that she used, but it was basically, shut up and get in here.
Yeah.
You know, it was because I had said, well, I'm not a mom with a laser.
Right.
I mean, I have a laser. I have a mom.
Right.
But, you know, and when I got in there, I was like, wow, I love the community that you guys have built there. It's just, I don't know how to put it in words other than to say it's probably one of my favorite. It is my favorite group to be in. It's just great.
That's awesome.
And when I first got there, you know, I was known to a lot of people, not known to everybody. You know, I'm still not known to everybody.
Yeah.
But, I'll never forget, because this woman scarred me, is, I don't even remember what she had asked, but I asked to answer the question, and she just went off on me saying I was mansplaining. I'm like,
oh no,
you have never met me in your life if you think that's what I'm doing. Because I don't do that. That's not me. And I knew for a fact that she was hurt by somebody.
Yes, very. That's what I was just going to say. It was,
if my profile picture was a woman, she wouldn't have said that to me.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
She just said it because I'm a guy.
Mm-hmm.
But
it was because of that. It was because of, if you had ever been in any of those, again, the Glowforge groups thankfully weren't very much like that, although it did happen every once in a while, where you'd get that, you know, that kind of like backhanded compliment sometimes, and, you know, that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's totally unfortunately because of her experience elsewhere. Yeah. And your name was Mark, and she was like, yep.
Yeah, that's a guy, right?
Right.
And my pastor used to say, man, you took that in the heart, and nobody did that to you. Like, nobody did that to you. You did that to yourself. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, when someone's hurting, you can't address that at the time. So anyway, I told Emily about it, and I kind of boohooed to her in the DMs, and I got over it. You know, she kind of said, you know, put on your big boy pants. I don't know. Right. Said, but,
that's not an Emily way to say it.
No, but I will say, and I say this with love, and she knows it, is sometimes I can tell she's a teacher because she talks to me like one, you know, and I love it. I absolutely love it. But I can hear her like when she voice, like you do it. Like,
I do. You guys send voice, and you can blame her for it. She's the reason. I hated them at first. She would talk to me, and she would send me voice memos, and it would always be one-sided. And she would say, you know, I'd always respond with a text message, and she sent another voice memo, and then she sent another text message, and then she wore me down. And then I was like, you know what? Okay, this is good, because you didn't, I sent you a voice memo the other day, and you're like, oh, you know, voice to text is great too. And I tried that. That was me of trying to avoid the voice memos. Well, then I wouldn't like proofread them. And then I'd go back and be like, I didn't say that. That's not what I said at all. And so I'd always miss it when she would screw up what I said, Siri, my phone, and she'd mess up what I said. And then I'm like, okay, never mind. This isn't working. I'm just sending a voice memo. So I still,
I shouldn't have done this, but I was in a movie when that was happening.
Oh, right.
And of course, I had no business being on my phone, but I was, right?
Right.
I mean,
that guy.
It's just like all of us check our phone at the red light at the stoplight, right?
Totally,
you shouldn't be doing that either.
Right.
But I was like, I can't listen to that right now.
Right.
Anyway, that was a stupid reason. But anyway, all that to say, let me tell you why I started this group was I just couldn't put it off anymore, because I was seeing some things that I wanted to happen in the other groups, but they weren't. And some of them were things that were unique to me that just wouldn't fit the other ones. Yeah. So it's not a cheap shot at any of them.
Right. Yeah.
but I was just saying, I want a particular flavor that's probably uniquely marked. Some of this is, some of this isn't. Mm-hmm. But I'll just tell you real quick some of the things that I did and I'm planning to do. I know that Emily does interviews with people, which I love.
Yeah.
But I don't know that a lot of other groups do that. In fact, I can't think of any that do it off the top of my head except for her.
Right.
I don't know if other people do it. And so that's kind of unique. And I thought, I want to do that. And I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
And I want to, I also want to kind of have fun in the groups. I don't want it to be always about basically two things. My Glowforge is broken and can I sell this file in your group? Like
that's totally.
That's the two things. Right. I was like, we can do better than that. And so I just started 2 Saturdays ago. So, and we're already at, I think, 3,200 people.
That's
which
amazing.
Is great, in like about 9 days, which is awesome.
Wow.
And so that's exciting. But I started doing daily themes. So every day, Monday motivation and Tuesday tips and tutorials, which, by the way, a couple of the ladies decided that was tipsy tutorials, which would be a lot more fun. So we may do that.
We tried just the tip Tuesdays.
Yeah.
And we put it as like a poll option. And it was the second winner, but it wasn't the first. It was, I was disappointed that didn't win for first, but, and we actually had to stop our Tuesday tip one because we were the only ones giving tips. And we're like, okay, never mind. We tried.
the difference for me is I'm doing it every week myself. Like I'm intending to do it for myself. And I've got, Casey is going to come on with me and we're going to talk some tips on that day. I'm trying to get Emily, but I think I'm not big enough to get her attention. So hopefully.
She's also drowning with me and Heather with our course stuff. It's quite intense to make one.
You can just say that you don't want to do it. It's okay.
No, it's not that. It's not that at all.
but Tuesdays I'm going to do tips and tutorials.
Awesome.
Mondays I have a blast doing the Monday motivation. Wednesday is going to be Win Stuff Wednesday, where I give stuff away. So I bought a gift certificate from Cerulean Tides. I bought a gift certificate from Smoky Hill.
Cool.
And so I'm going to give away things each week.
Yeah.
And
you're not going to give away all the designs sitting around in your house?
Oh,
the pre-made ones.
If people think that's got a value,
right. I'm sure there's people who do.
Unload my trash Thursday.
Right.
Wait, edit that out. Yeah, don't. But then Thursday, we're going to do Throwback Thursday. So every Thursday, I pick a design that maybe you forgot I did and pull it out, talk about it real quick, and then run it at a huge sale for 48 hours.
Oh, that's cool.
And so I usually do it like 50% off for 48 hours. Only group members. So if you're not in the group, you don't know about it. And then Friday is New File Friday. So I release 2 new files every Friday.
Wow, nice.
And then Saturday is Shout Out Saturday, where I just want to create the culture of being thankful. Just, hey man, if somebody helped you, let's call them out, man.
Yeah.
Because so many people do this for free.
Right.
And a lot of times they forget about that. Is this guy, this person, this woman, this man, they've got a life.
Yeah.
And they're in there helping you figure out your laser because you don't know how to use it.
Yeah. I mean,
tell them
I'm helping them when I have, a baby screaming over there and, and I'm helping somebody with acrylic settings and and that's again another thing I've been struggling with is the shift from helping for free to having people pay for it, and it was really difficult for me because it was like, how do I do that? How do I help? My messenger is always open. How do I turn that off? And I'm still figuring it out, but I'm getting to the point where not knowing your worth, but I guess it is because I have to prioritize the little time that I have available now. And unfortunately, and I'm still helping people, but I'm making it more, I'm putting it all in one place, making, a pretty package I'm hoping to where you don't even need me, where you still get me, but where you don't need me in the messenger and me walking you through how to do the same thing. I can tell you, oh, well, that's in module 1 or that's in module 2 or, but it's been a struggle. But
I love that though.
we're all helping, and again, while we're watching a movie instead of actually watching that movie and,
I'm listening to a voicemail from,
right?
Well, and here's what's interesting. I want to mention this too. I think this is really important. And I don't know if I'm going to say this right. I hope I do, is everybody, gets satisfaction and joy out of something different than maybe the next person.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. And for me, if I could have what I want, and honestly, I don't know if I can, to be really honest, I'm not sure. I would teach every day, all day for the rest of my life. That's my favorite thing to do.
Because you love doing it. Yeah.
I love doing it. And I think I'm halfway good at it. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
But right now, that's not how I put food on the table. I'm not getting paid for that.
Exactly.
And so, but if I can figure out either, I honestly, I don't want to charge for teaching. I just don't. I might have to. Like, I might not have a choice.
Well, and there's ways around it too. In that, like, there's ads, or depending on what you want to do, there's a way to do it. And right now, so you're kind of like paying the bills with your designs, but your designs are still helping people. Yes, they're paying for it, but they're helping people. Like, I told John, I wanted to learn how to make my own one because I could never really find what I was looking for when I was looking on Etsy. But I didn't understand enough about them to make it from scratch myself. So I had to buy files so that I understood how they worked. And so, they're helpful for every person, depending on where you're at, in your journey, while it also helps you be the teacher you want to be, technically for free.
Well, and that's exactly right. And I appreciate that. One of the things that I noticed, my friend Daryl Aspen, you probably know Daryl.
Mm-hmm.
He one of the things he does that I really appreciate, and he's not done it with me for obvious reasons, but he spends a lot of time where he'll get on a FaceTime call with somebody and spend an hour teaching them how to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, wow, I don't have that kind of time.
I don't.
But here's the thing: I want to have that kind of time.
Right.
I don't,
but
I want to. And so I'm kind of my 2022. Some of my goals are to rearrange my day and my week to where Mark can do what brings him the most joy, which is teaching.
Yeah.
And if I can find a way to, when somebody, like, this would be amazing. I did this a couple times and it was great. Somebody would private message me and say, hey, can you show me how to do, I don't know, kerf or something.
Kerf, yep.
And I just, that's usually it for me. But I turn my phone on real quick and just record a video of myself and say, hey, hey, Crystal, this is Mark. I just want to say thanks for asking. And I tell them real quick on a video and I send it back for 90 seconds. And they always are like, oh my gosh, you took time out of your day to send me a video.
Yeah, I've done that too. Yeah.
And I love doing that. And I'd like to do more of that, but I can't, my world's got to change order.
Right.
Like I can't do that. So anyway, that's kind of my goal. And, so in the group, what I'm really trying to do is just create a slightly different atmosphere. Not to say that anybody's bad, because nobody's bad, but just a little different personality. And I think that the giveaways and the contests, and like we had I asked people to just say something they're thankful for, and we had, I think, 600 comments of people, and it was
awesome.
like you read these things and people are saying, I've been cancer free for 6 years, and
oh wow,
and this person almost died and now they're still with me and I'm so thankful. Or and I'm reading this, I'm like, oh my, this is a Facebook group about lasers. And I thought, this is what I want. Because we can still talk about kerf and talk about why your Glowforge doesn't work and why it doesn't cut on the right side and blah 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 blah.
Well, I just gave I just gave a shout out to Heather and Emily, because it's been a rough couple weeks, and honestly they were it was weird because so Heather was struggling and I was telling her how amazing she was, and she was like I was saying something like, because she was my original like mentor. She was the one who made me, start up an Etsy, and who just kind of has pushed me where I've been like, oh, I can't do that. and pushed me in good ways. And, I said, you know, it was just telling her about how great she was and how I try when I do things, I see Heather do it and I'm like, okay, that's amazing. How do I do it without copying Heather? I have to go out of my way to not be her and to make sure that I do it my own way and, you know, use her path, but, you know, make it my own, and that I struggle with that because she did it so well. And she was like, you know, I do the same to you and Emily. And I was like, me? I'm like, no, you don't. And then she, you know, like told me about like what she admired about me, and it made me cry. And I was like, oh my God, you just made me cry. And she's like, well, you just made me cry 5 minutes ago. So F you. But, you know, it's just, that's like our friendship in a nutshell. But, you know, it was just, and Emily, she was, you know, like kind of building me up too, because I've been struggling with this, you know, my new life of 2 kids and trying to manage this business. And they're not just friends, you know, they're family, and the community is amazing. And I had to do a public thank you to just, you know, there's amazing people beyond what you see in the groups. Yes.
Yeah, oh, it's so good. Man, that's great. And that's exactly what I want to cultivate, right? Yeah. Is just a thankful group that also works together and struggles together and figures stuff out together.
There's never too many of those.
Thankful. No.
There's too many of the ones where they're stealing designs and complaining about this and complaining about that. Like, let's have the ones where you can go and you know that there's not going to be that.
That's exactly right. And I'm so, again, I just want to, that Mom with the Laser is just one of my favorite groups. And, you know, also there's the Josh over at the Glowforge at Home. He does a great job. The Davenports over at the Glowforge Beginner Group. There's so many people that are just doing a great job. Group.
I don't know. Yeah. I was like hidden under a rock or something. That was not one of my, I don't know, 65 groups or something.
And I think they have 30,000 people in there now.
It's like 38. I looked at the other day.
Is it really?
It's huge.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And I think it was actually someone had tagged me or told me, or they saw, I think it was actually the earrings, the snow globe earrings. I think that was actually how I found it. Because someone was like, oh, someone's asking about this. And I was like, oh, I'm not even in that group. Hold on. Let me go join.
Right.
But yeah, it's been great. I like that group too.
Well, I'm going to, me and the Davenports both, we're talking about scheduling a time for us to do an interview with them, just to tell people in my group about their group. Because I'm not interested in competition at all.
No.
That's just not... I'm not interested. I don't care. I'd rather say, hey, these people are doing a great job. You should be in that group too.
Yeah.
But, you know, I want to tell you one other thing, and we're probably just talking way too long. But
I know, right? I was just looking at the time.
Who cares?
There's no rules here.
I got a chance to spend a lot of time with some people at Glowforge, which is really kind of an honor. Mm-hmm. One of the things they did a few months ago was they asked me if I would be on their Zoom call with their software development team.
Oh.
And I said, sure.
Right.
So that was a couple months ago. And I said, what do you want? And they said, we just want to ask you questions about, you know, what we could do better. I was like, okay.
Wow.
So I was on this call for almost an hour with, I think, 17 people. And they all were just asking me questions. Hey, what do you like about this? What's the struggle here? They were just asking me what my opinion was. It was really great.
That's awesome.
So nice. But one of the things that came of that conversation that kind of opened my eyes to the obvious, maybe. Mm-hmm. We spend all of our time in these Facebook groups and we go, oh my gosh, there's 38,000 people in this one. There's 40,000 people in this one.
Yeah.
And they told me for the first time that all of the Facebook groups added together are a very small part of their customer base.
Wow.
In other words, vast majority of the people they talk to are not in any of these groups.
Right.
Huh.
And I got to remind myself, we think when something happens in the 40,000 member group that, this speaks for the world.
You know, it's so true. I remember someone found me on my YouTube channel that has like, I don't know, 7 videos or something. But they were, I was like, oh, are you in this group? And they're like, oh, no, I don't have Facebook. And I was like, what?
What? Right. Well, and so they said,
right?
Well, and you start thinking about this, like if they pre-sold back in 2015, they pre-sold 10,000 to people in October. Mm-hmm. It's not unreasonable. I mean, how many Glowforges do you think are in the world? It's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of Glowforges out there.
That's true. Yeah.
And then you realize, in the Glowforge user group, those are the same people that are in the other groups. Like, it's not. Yeah, no, it's the same 40,000. Yeah. Right. And so you have to remember, wait a minute. Not only is this not the world, this is not even a small percentage of the world. So I got to remember that.
True.
Well, and they're going like mainstream, because I'm getting sponsored things on Instagram now, and I'm not I never search anything.
Right. Yeah.
So they're just gonna just gonna sell more of them. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I personally, I'm not in any groups.
He's not a groups guy at all.
I'm in a pig group because we own a pig.
Right.
And then I'm in a Traeger group because the vendor who sold me my Traeger grill was like, we have this group where people share a bunch of recipes
and stuff. Yeah.
So I'm
for pig. Yeah, for pigs.
Well, that too.
Well, yeah,
for that too.
Our pig's off limits
for now.
Hey.
Till
bacon.
Yeah, right.
I mean, we still eat bacon, but
we still eat all that stuff.
Not her.
And we made it when she lived in the house in Colorado.
Yeah.
But no, I'm part of groups, but I'm a voyeur. I'll see what's
You rarely comment.
I don't comment.
You post.
I don't post.
You posted about Piggy the other day when she got out.
Right.
But that was like your first post ever.
And I don't even know. I don't even know if anyone commented.
Right, because you don't follow up.
I don't follow up on it. So I can see how somebody, like myself.
I mean, let's be real. You don't even really do much in the project in our podcast group.
By much means I have to be tagged in order to see it, and then maybe I'll like
I have to follow up that you actually. I'm like, did you see that tag?
Yeah, exactly.
They're talking to you.
Exactly. So I'm terrible with groups.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's a lot of other people. Obviously, there's a lot of other people like that.
Right, and they they just buy it and trial and error, and they have no idea that there's this plethora of resource.
Gold mine,
yeah.
Right.
So hopefully they start listening to the podcast as well.
Right.
Great, man. Well, in case I don't get a chance to say it, this has been so much fun.
Yeah, it has.
I hope, I thank you so much for the opportunity. It's great.
Of course.
And we need to maybe find some other people that want to do it with you too. I'd love to help you find some other people, but
I'd love that.
I also posted about it in my group, and I'm going to post about it when I get off, and
make
sure they know where to find it. So that's going to be great as well.
Yeah, I appreciate. I mean, again, I was nervous sending you that message. I know we've talked before, and it's been probably about Kerf. I honestly didn't scroll up to see what our previous conversation was before I asked, but I've talked to you before, for help and stuff, and I mean, people say it to me, and it's weird to me, but so it's probably going to be a little weird saying it to you, but you're big in our world, in our laser world. And so I got nervous, sending you a message. I got nervous sending, I asked JB Manning, I asked him, as well. And I got nervous sending him one. Now he's really bad at responding to messages on Messenger.
Yes.
But
he's a good guy though.
Totally. Yeah. And actually next week we have, Danny, the president of Eon, he'll be on next week. And when I asked him, he kind of blew my mind because I was also nervous to ask him. And he told me, I thought you'd never ask. And I was like, what?
Wow.
So
you know who I am?
Right? Well, he knows me because I gave him a lot of shit, in the beginning, waiting for my laser and stuff like that. But
not on the podcast.
No. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We love him on the podcast.
Yeah. So it was just, it was crazy to me to, you responded right away and you were like, yes, let's go. And then, he was like, I thought you'd never ask. So it's just, it's crazy that we're the big guys, but in a good way. Cause it's all, the podcast was because there wasn't one. And our goal in this is to help people. And I love the feedback we've gotten of, you struggle with that too, because you don't always put that out there. When you're doing a design, you don't see the 14 failed piggy banks that you made before that. You know, so it shows the human side to all of us that, you know, when we make a post, we thought, how are we going to say that? We edited it and we typed it again and we, you know, didn't post it because it didn't seem right and, you know, all of that. So.
Well, I'll say it right now. We should have like another conversation about all the things we've screwed up on. That should
we totally should. That would be a great episode.
That would be.
Yeah.
Like,
because I've done a lot.
I don't hide this. I don't bring it up either.
Right.
I killed the Glowforge completely to the point where I had to buy a new one because I didn't clean it at all.
Yeah.
And when it finally stopped working, I was talking to Glowforge and they said, sir, you just let it go to crap. They didn't say go to crap, but
right.
It got so bad that it stopped working.
That makes me feel better because when I bought my laser, although I was in the groups for a couple months and stuff, cleaning wasn't at the time when I joined the Glowforge group, the members were like 2,000 to 3,000. There was only 2 or 3. There's like 30 something in there now, but there's only 2,000 or 3,000 people and they didn't talk about cleaning that much. I honestly didn't know I had to clean it. I didn't know it would get dirty. I didn't know because I knew nothing about lasers. And thinking about it now, I'm like, how did I not know that it was going to need to be cleaned? I didn't know that it needed to be exhausted. And I was like, and then I started looking, I was like, oh crap, now I have to find somewhere for this vent. And my office at the time was in like off of a sliding glass door. So there was no window to vent out of. So I had to, you know, get, creative, but I'm glad that you said that because I didn't know that I had to clean it either.
I had to, it cost me $3,000 to learn that.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. No, that's a really great idea. I think that would be an awesome episode.
You know, and people think, oh, Mark never screws up. Oh my gosh, that is not true.
No.
I mean, I didn't screw up in the last 2 hours because I've been on the phone with you.
Right.
I mean, I've ruined all kinds of things. The amount of materials that I burn through is crazy.
Yeah.
So yes.
So yeah, we'll have to do a fails episode.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like that.
Well, we ask everybody, but it seems like everyone knows where to find you.
Just in case they don't.
But in case we have 2 or 3 people listening out there who's like, "Oh, this Mark guy sounds pretty cool."
Right.
And he seems pretty popular. Where can they go to find him?
Sure. The best place to find me is bigbluelaserdesigns.com, or you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/bigbluelaserdesigns. I've also got Etsy if you prefer that. Big Blue Laser Designs there as well.
Awesome.
All right, that's perfect.
Well, that was fun.
Yeah, that was fun. Thanks for coming on.
Yes. Oh my gosh, guys, thank you so much.
Oh, for sure. And you can find us at Riley Black Project on Instagram. There's a Facebook group, Riley Black Project. Facebook, Instagram.
We're all the places.
All the places.
Patreon.
Yep.
But there's a post in the Patreon group that's, I think it's pinned. They called them like the favorites now. They changed the name of it, but it's at the top of the page and it's all the different places that, you can follow us, that you can support. Yeah. So there's been another great episode of the Riley Black Project with Crystal and John. Bye.
Maybe we're all done.